Steve Mark, voted best sportscast in Texas by the Associated Press.
Obviously, all the talk preceding this game locally is about the Texans, but there is considerable history surrounding the Cowboys that accompanies the Cowboys to this game, even though the Texans and Cowboys have never played.
This is Sports Saturday.
Hi again. It's the first time in training camp the Texans face someone else. Yes, it's only a scrimmage, something Cowboys coach Bill Parcells calls just a practice. But for the Texans, who a year ago found some bad blood with the Cowboys in their first ever scrimmage, only to beat the Cowboys in the regular season opener, there's a certain significance. That said, the Texans hope what happened tonight is not a sign of things to come in the regular season, because at the Alamo Dome, the scrimmage is for the Texans a painful reminder of much of last season, like David Carr absolutely running for his life. And, like last season, Carr, the continued sack fest. This one from Greg Ellis. Also like last season, that variety of false starts and dropped snaps. Texans not impressive offensively. You had 697 yards last season. It was the best individual single number for you than any of your 4 previous seasons in Green Bay. Do you have a particular goal for this season?
Well, I basically just come out and just try to be consistent, every game this year, and just, this is going to take care of itself.
Taking another look at the play that could have ended the life of a Houston Texan football player. Instead, today, Leamont Evans took a huge step on the road to recovery. News to Houston, Steve Mark, live at Reliant Park with more on the story for us. Steve?
Leamont Evans back in Houston, walking and talking about playing football again after the scare of his life on Monday night. Evans back home, up and about. A miraculous recovery so far compared to Monday night, when Evans lay motionless in Canton, unable to feel anything.
I was scared, and then again I wasn't, because I was breathing, and I could see a little bit, but I couldn't move. So it was some bad things, so was some good things going on.
Much of Evans' feeling has returned. He is walking, although he still hurts down his back. Evans hopes, after another round of tests, to return to the Texans. This might appear phenomenal.
We're going to run some more tests, and, my wife is here, and we're going to decide what's best for me and my family. If something's wrong, I'm definitely not going to go out there and chance it again.
Evans' wife witnesses the horrific event in Canton and feels awfully lucky considering the initial outlook.
It was hard, but the training staff and the coaches and everybody, they kept calling, let me know, what was going on. They updated me all the time. So had it not been for them, I probably would have been, going crazy.
From momentary paralysis to talking about playing football, what an amazing difference for a lucky guy. We're live at the Texans practice facility. I'm Steve Mark.
A shortage of storylines in today's Titans-Texans game. Steve Mark on the sidelines in the Music City. He's got this post-game report.
Houston's football, present and past, finally collide. Teams that will always have a link historically, owners that are neighbors, and a game that was much closer than it should have been. NFL's old guard versus the new kid on the block. 2 owners who live just blocks apart in Houston, friends, preside over Texans-Titans. Take one.
Just 2 teams on the football field. I happen to own one, and Bob owns the other one. See, my neighbor. And I told him I'd be easy on him if he'd be easy on me.
I hope he doesn't have reason to be real happy, but...
The Titans make some Houston history early. Steve McNair's touchdown pass to Derek Mason breaks Warren Moon's record for consecutive games with a touchdown pass at 22. And the Texans quietly lapse into a malaise they've found since beating Jacksonville. 82 yards net in the first half, when it appears a botched punt and a 6-yard gain seems like the best thing the offense has going.
It looked to me to be a great snap about the first 5 yards, and then it just gusted right before we snapped, and the rest, you all saw what happened. So.
4 sacks on David Carr, and the Texans are eventually lulled into a 17-3 deficit until lightning. Carr to Jared Baxter with 3:05 left. It's a game. Titans fans in the house that Bud built boo the home team.
Well, we kept hanging in there. So anytime a team lets you hang around like that, you always got a chance to come back and stay in the game.
Texans have life with 2 minutes left, only for Carr to get intercepted for the second time on the game. This with 1:11 to go, and a gettable game for the Texans slips away.
We had a chance to go down at the end, but,
holiday, things were going uphill for us, so it wasn't really in for it.
No doubt in my mind of what their intentions are. The problem we're having right now is our actions, aren't matching up to our intentions.
It's something I'm not used to, and I'm never going to get used to, and hopefully these guys in here feel the same way.
At some point, some season, these teams will develop a rivalry. The cities, historically linked NFL-wise, will join in. The Texans get another crack at the former Oilers the last week of the season.
When we get there, hopefully we'll be in a good position by the time we get there as far as playoffs.
For this Texans fan, a trip from Houston to Nashville, she hopes, is merely a tune-up.
We got D-Day 1229. Bud, we want you, Bud.
And for the record, those two friends who live in River Oaks and happen to own NFL teams that play and played in the same city, they didn't see each other once during this game. Unintentionally, of course. In Nashville, Steve Mark for Sports Sunday.
Touchdown Houston got official approval from league owners this morning, and anticipation has turned, of course, into celebration. News to Houston has live team coverage of today's big event. It came this morning from the NFL owners meeting in Atlanta.
And that's where News to Houston Steve Mark is live with the very latest. Steve?
Well, as late as yesterday, the NFL gave Los Angeles every courtesy and still yet another chance to win the expansion bid. In the end, it was Bob McNair's cold, hard cash that brought the NFL back to Houston.
I think the key thing was both the quality of the stadium, the fan interest in the NFL in Texas, and the quality of the ownership in Bob McNair.
NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue signals the end of Houston's NFL drought. From the uncertainty of the Oilers' final years in Texas to the expansion war with Los Angeles that Houston lost in March, then won back here in Atlanta.
We've done our due diligence. We've done our homework. Everything is in place. And it became obvious, I think, to everyone that this was just a very solid proposal.
At 3 this morning, McNair's attorneys finished their detail work with the league. Then a half hour before the expansion committee met, McNair signed the $700 million agreement.
And I think it's really a great story about dreaming great dreams and pulling them off. A lot of people didn't think we'd do it, but we did.
McNair's new partners praised the deal.
They were determined to have that NFL team and have this expansion franchise come to Houston. I'm really, I'm glad that they were rewarded.
They were. McNair gets a team in the AFC, the same conference as the Oilers, the former Oilers and now Titans. They'll begin play in 2002 and a Super Bowl to come to Houston 2 years after that. We're live in Atlanta. I'm Steve Mark.
I was told it's going to get better.
Have you written the speech?
How many times? Why did you ask that? I've written this speech. I've torn it up. I've read it 150 times, and I wake up in the morning, and it's been challenging. But I had a chance about a month ago to go to California. I wrote my speech on the plane, 3.5-hour trip, and I think I did a pretty good job. So I guess the whole everything's gonna be centered around the people that got me. I didn't do this by myself, so. That's the part I want to tell everybody.
We're looking forward to hearing it, and in advance, our congratulations to you.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Elvin Bethea, next week, he'll be in the Hall of Fame.